me and Jamila will be talking more about how to transition from a non-technical domain to cloud. And in fact, let me share my screen and I'll share a few LinkedIn posts that I have made in the past. Going back to the topic of if you would like to transition from a non-technical role to the cloud roles. I do have a 10-step playbook, and I can share this link, the LinkedIn post link again, but it's a kind of, a step-by-step guide for you guys, whether you are from a non-technical background or from a non-cloud specific role, you want to get into cloud, then you can follow this and hopefully it will be helping you in transition. But I'll be sharing stories of 3 people today, and we will be hearing from Jamila live about how she transitioned from a non-tech to tech. So the first example, and again, as I said, I'll be sharing the links later so that you guys have it handy. So this is the story of Daniel. He moved into cloud from not having any technical background, from dropping out of college to working as a bartender and a taxi driver. He thought about becoming a cloud, and he works as a cloud engineer, cloud advisor, right? So during the pandemic, he quit his job as a taxi driver, and then he actually started studying for AWS Solution Architect Associate. Within 4 months, he became Solution Architect Associate, and then SysOps Associates, so on and so forth. What helped him, apart from studying, is networking a lot on the LinkedIn and applying to too many jobs. It's not going to be easy if you're coming from a non-technical background, but if you have that grit, you will be able to get through it. And the opportunity came through LinkedIn. He used to regularly share his progress. So this is what I always tell people who I mentor, that while you're learning, share your learning on the LinkedIn, right? Any project that you're doing, do share it. You never know who is watching you. Network with a lot of people and keep sharing. Live examples like Daniel, seeing his progress, a CEO of a security company approached him, offering him an interview, and he got hired. He started, let's say, in April 2020, and November 2020, he had a job in hand, right? And then obviously it will be a learning curve, right? And he kept, achieving more and more certifications, and now he's helping startups in their AWS journey. Similarly, let me zoom this again. Fabrice, right? He was a veteran, becoming an electrical engineer in manufacturing, so not from an IT background, and he was able to get his first role at Accenture as a cloud DevOps engineer. And there's 8 steps, what exactly he did and how he was able to grab this role. And you will see that, apart from studying, the self-study that people has to do, they can always leverage the network. My LinkedIn Cloud Network expanded. I'll start following, connect more people. And, it's more about keep connecting and keep sharing your knowledge. That's one tip that I always tell them. Other thing that I loved is that he wiped out the Windows old laptop and put in Linux, and he started from scratch. So that also helped him. That's what he told. Yeah, so that's on. And finally, we do have 10 minutes, and this is where I'll ask Jamila to come into picture and share her story. I got inspired by Jamila a lot. I knew her even before she joined AWS. I know her journey. It's too inspiring. So yeah, Jamila, take it away.
Thank you very much, Prasad. Well, as some of the people already noticed, and they read your LinkedIn post, so thank you for that. I'm an economist. I have no technical background before joining AWS. So the important few key takeaways for me in this journey was that identifying where I'm standing currently, where I want to head, and what I'm lacking. So it seems as easy questions to ask, but when you actually step back, look at it as a big picture and put a timeline that, okay, I want to be there, and why I want to be in that position or in that company, what inspires me, what ignites me in this role. So as Prasad mentioned, I I know Prasad before joining AWS because I was networking on LinkedIn. I was adding people from AWS, and it's not because I wanted to bug them, especially Prasad. It's just because I wanted to understand in the future when I joined the company, and I had the feeling that I will join the company, and I had that kind of little bit of confidence deep in my heart that one day I will be among them and I will be their colleague. And I wanted to understand their way of thinking, their mentality, their way of working. And someone in my network shared Prasad's post about mentoring, about solutions architect associate exam and preparing for the exam. And I applied. I was like, okay, I don't have any technical background, but I want to learn, because I have some other skills, like I have data analysis skills. I know a little bit of programming here and there, and I wanted to dive deep. And solutions architect's role, I thought it will fit my personality and my career goal in the long term. So I added Prasad to my LinkedIn connection, and I applied for the program. But the interesting thing is that I didn't get admitted. So as many of you probably did and currently doing, that's what I'm seeing on LinkedIn, that when you apply for the program, you immediately reach out to the person who is running the program. That's what I did. I reached out to Prasad saying that, hey, thank you very much for organizing the program. I applied for the program. I'm looking forward to be selected, right? He replied saying that, like, good luck. And back in that time, there was like a limit of number of people who can join. So I didn't get selected. I was a little bit of upset that I won't have a chance to learn within the group, network with like-minded people. But I didn't stop there. I thought it is a good opportunity for me to kind of to think differently and maybe in a different approach. So I started to add more people on LinkedIn and trying to understand what they are doing, what they are looking for. So one of my LinkedIn connections, when I applied as a connection request, he was and still is in SA manager in the UK. So he saw my LinkedIn profile. He said, your LinkedIn profile and your background seems interesting. I'd like to connect just to see what are you doing, what is your career aspiration. You can imagine, like, I couldn't sleep at that night that, oh my God, someone at AWS, he's a manager, SA manager, noticed me, noticed my background, and he thinks that I might be fit for this role. I might work on something. I didn't know exactly where I need to work, what I need to do, but at least I had some lead. So we connected. So he called me and we brainstormed some ideas where I am currently. I was saying that I'm taking courses from a cloud guru. I'm learning, I'm doing this and that. And then he gave me some ideas to work on. He said, hey, you can start building a simple website, share on LinkedIn, etc., etc. So I followed his advice, and he was saying that if you have any questions, feel free to message me. Well, that was probably his biggest regret, because I didn't stop messaging him by asking questions, especially around networking and all these like deeply technical questions, where he was very kind enough to reply with resources and just support me whenever I needed. So he became my mentor. So he probably didn't want to, but well, it was his bad agreeing to mentor me, and he's still my mentor, even in AWS. During the interview process, I was messaging him saying that, hey, I'm in the interview process, etc., etc. And then when I joined, we still keep in touch, of course, and we still work in projects together. And this is the also important part, to keep your network close to yourself. Be with people who believed in you when you were at some point where you didn't think you will be in another point. So this network, friends and people, they're really important. So if not him, if not my mentor at that time, I would probably still work on it, but still it would be probably vague for me where I'm going. I have questions, what I need to do. So then, of course, I connected with Prasad. I said, hey, Prasad, do you remember me? I'm that girl over LinkedIn who wanted to join your program, etc., etc. And then Prasad got inspired with my background and saying that, hey, we need to run actually again this sort of program. And I said, let's not limit number of people, right? Because I was one of those people who didn't get this program. Again, it didn't stop me. I'm still here, and Prasad was and still is helping me in AWS as well with all sorts of questions, so not only technical but non-technical as well. So so this idea came up to team up with people in AWS, with passionate people who are happy to mentor other people without putting some limits on number of people who can join the stream and who can learn. So my key takeaway is that ask questions from yourself. What are your skills currently? Look at the job description. What is the job description says, like key requirements. And even in some job descriptions, you will see nice to have, like preferred qualifications, right? I was trying to fit even those preferred qualifications as well. For example, it was saying some of the programming languages like C++, Python or Java, etc., etc. So I was trying to understand that, okay, I know how to program in Python. I can read some other programming languages, but what if I add to my tech stack some other programming languages? So I was doing some research, I was watching videos on YouTube, and I was trying to find a project where I can build something and use all these technical tools. And then during the interview process, when you are asked a question, you can say that, yes, there was a project, I built it, I used this and that, there was a gap, I couldn't solve it. I leverage this and that. So it's a good use case for you to understand and see where you're heading, where is your gap. I'm conscious about the time. We've got 1 minute, but this was, in a nutshell, my experience. And if you want to learn more or know more, feel free to please connect with me on LinkedIn.
Jamila, don't stop for 1 minute. We are all here to hear from you. So feel free to go on. If you want to share something, feel free.
Thank you, Ashish. Yeah, I'm just conscious about people's times as well. So yeah, feel free to read Prasad's post. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in our LinkedIn group. I know I'm getting lots of LinkedIn connections. I'm not able to accept or connect with every one of you because LinkedIn keeps blocking me. And also in the messages, I will try to get back as many of you as I can. Yeah, well, again, if you have any questions, feel free to post in our channel and I will be happy to follow up.
Yeah. Thanks, Jamila, for sharing that story. It's so inspiring. Every time I hear, I get inspired, very frankly. And, like I can't stop, I can't have enough of that story, very frankly. But yeah, as she said, like it's important to, like be resilient in your journey. Right, there might be scenarios when I'm working with one of my mentee right now, and she's trying to search her job, and she's like, I have applied to 100 jobs and no one is responding. I'm like, that is fine. You need to keep, like be resilient in your journey. Even in terms of finding a mentor, I can give you a few tips, in terms of finding the right mentor for you. Obviously, people might not be having a lot of time for everyone to make, but a few things like AWS Heroes. If you go to AWS Heroes page or AWS Community Builders, right, you can always be in touch with them, keep interacting with them. And if your request directly goes into, hey, can you be my mentor, probably thousands of other people would have messaged them. So it might be difficult. So it's always like showcase what exactly you want to do. As Jamila mentioned, that have that end goal with you and start working towards that goal by keep sharing on LinkedIn and make that connection with with the potential mentors that you have. that's what I say. Even in the job, like searching, if you go through that 10-step process, there's in one step is that I always say that while you're studying and while you're sharing your learning on LinkedIn, always create a like top 30 or 50 list of companies that you would like to apply for, and start connecting with those people. Ensure that the people who are in those companies are in your network, so that when you share something, they keep seeing it. So subconsciously they'll be like, okay, I know this person somehow. And when you apply, and then you never know who the hiring manager would be. When they will see your CV in front of them, they'll be like, I've seen this person on LinkedIn, let me quickly check. And they'll check your LinkedIn profile. And that makes the process really easy, believe me. Obviously knowledge is important, but the initial hurdle of like getting your CV in front of the hiring manager, and hiring manager is saying yes to your CV, that becomes easy if you activate your network. If you have any questions on this, I also try and reply to the messages as much as I can when you DM me. But in case if I'm not able to respond, I'm really sorry. Feel free to message it on the LinkedIn group that we have, BESA program. It's a safe group. It's a private group. We deliberately kept it private so that if anyone would like to ask any questions, no question is a silly question. So feel free to ask questions there. That's the scaling mechanism that we are using. And one of us would be responding to that for sure.
Thank you. Thanks, Prasad. Thanks, Jamila. Thanks, Chris. But if you have any suggestions, anything else we can do differently, let us know. We are all open to suggestions, and we would try our best to help you out as much as we can. So let us know how you liked it. If you like something in this session, share it on LinkedIn. Let other people also get inspired, or let other people also know the details of it, so that everyone gets benefit. We don't want to limit in terms of numbers, but obviously we have some practical limitation with the time and resources. We'll try to help as much as we can. Hope to see you next week. Keep in touch. Let us know how we can improve and how we can help you in getting the best out of this program. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend. Talk to you next week. Thanks a lot.